His eyes are gone. His strength has vanished. He's chained like a beast, walking in circles, grinding grain. The Philistines laugh. They mock. The man who once tore lions apart is now a slave. The story we're about to tell you is Samson, the strongest man who ever lived. A promise before birth. It all began with a woman who couldn't have children. She had no name in the Bible, but she had prayers, silent prayers, quiet tears. She lived in a town called Zorah, in the land of Israel, during a time when the people had walked far away from God. Judges 13 verse 1. Again the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord, so the Lord delivered them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. The people were in pain, but God hadn't forgotten them. One day, a glowing figure appeared to the woman. Not a man, an angel of the Lord. Judges 13 verse 3. The angel of the Lord appeared to her and said, "You are barren and childless, but you are going to become pregnant and give birth to a son." The angel gave instructions. Judges 13 verse 5. You will become pregnant and have a son whose head is never to be touched by a razor, because the boy is to be a Nazirite, dedicated to God from the womb. He will take the lead in delivering Israel from the hands of the Philistines. The woman ran to her husband. His name was Manoah. She told him everything, but he was shaken. He didn't understand. So he went outside, and he prayed. Judges 13 verse 8. Pardon your servant, Lord. I beg you to let the man of God you sent to us come again to teach us how to bring up the boy who is to be born. And God heard him. The angel returns. One day, while the woman was alone in the field, the angel appeared again. She ran quickly to get her husband. Judges 13 verse 11. When Manoah heard this, he got up and followed his wife. When he came to the man, he said, "Are you the one who talked to my wife?" "I am," he said. Manoah asked, "What is the boy's life supposed to be like?" The angel replied. Judges 13 verses 13 to 14. Your wife must do all that I have told her. She must not eat anything that comes from the grapevine, or drink wine or other fermented drink, or eat anything unclean. She must do everything I have commanded her. Still trembling, Manoah tried to offer the angel food. But the angel said, "If you offer anything, offer it to the Lord." So Manoah built an altar. He placed a young goat upon it. And then, it happened. Judges 13 verse 20. As the flame blazed up from the altar toward heaven, the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame. Seeing this, Manoah and his wife fell with their faces to the ground. They cried out. Judges 13 verse 22. We are doomed to die. We have seen God. But his wife whispered, if God meant to kill us, he wouldn't have shown us all this. She gave birth to a son. They named him Samson, which means sunlight, the man of strength and desire. Samson grew into a man with muscles like stone and a will like fire. But even stronger than his muscles was his desire. One day he saw a Philistine woman from the city of Timnah. She wasn't from Israel. She didn't worship the God of heaven. But Samson didn't care. Judges 14 verse 2. I saw a Philistine woman in Timnah. Now get her for me as my wife. His parents pleaded with him. Judges 14 verse 3. Isn't there an acceptable woman among your relatives or among all our people? Must you go to the uncircumcised Philistines to get a wife? But Samson insisted. They didn't know. God would even use this. The lion and the honey. On the road to Timnah, Samson walked alone. The sun was hot. The path was quiet. Then, a roar. A lion charged out of the bushes. But Samson didn't run. Judges 14 verse 6. The Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him so that he tore the lion apart with his bare hands as he might have torn a young goat. Days later he walked that same path again. And inside the lion's carcass, he saw bees and sweet honey. He reached inside, scooped some out, and ate it. Sweetness from something dead. A riddle. A betrayal. Blood. At the wedding feast, Samson gave the men a riddle. Judges 14 verse 14. Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. The men couldn't solve it, so they threatened his bride. Get the answer from him, or we'll burn you and your family. She cried. She begged. She wept for 7 days. And finally, Samson gave in. She told the men. They answered the riddle. And Samson knew. He had been betrayed. Revenge. Judges 14 verse 19. Then the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him. He went down to Ashkelon, struck down 30 men, stripped them of everything and gave their clothes to those who had explained the riddle. Samson was no longer thinking about weddings. He was thinking about war. Fields on fire. When Samson returned later to see his bride, her father said, "I gave her to someone else." Samson snapped. Judges 15 verses 4 to 5. He caught 300 foxes and tied them tail to tail in pairs. He fastened a torch to every pair of tails and burned up the shocks and standing grain together with the vineyards and olive groves. The Philistines struck back. They burned his wife and her father alive. So Samson struck harder. He hunted them. Judges 15 verse 8. He attacked them viciously and slaughtered many of them. Then he fled and hid in a cave. The Philistines came looking. They told the men of Judah, "Bring Samson to us." So 3,000 Israelites went to the cave. Judges 15 verse 11. Don't you realize the Philistines are rulers over us? Samson said, "I'll go with you. Just promise not to kill me yourselves." They bound him and brought him to the Philistines. But as they approached, the Spirit of God came again. Judges 15 verse 14. The ropes on his arms became like charred flax, and the bindings dropped from his hands. Samson saw a donkey's jawbone on the ground. He picked it up and struck down 1,000 men. He stood, breathing heavy, blood on his hands, dust in his lungs. He dropped the jawbone, and he prayed. Judges 15 verse 18. You have given your servant this great victory. Must I now die of thirst? So God split the ground, and water poured out. Even in Samson's rage, God still had mercy. Delilah. Years passed. Samson judged Israel for 20 years. But the Philistines never forgot. And Samson never stopped chasing desire. He met a woman named Delilah. Her name meant delicate, but her heart was hard. The Philistines offered her silver. Judges 16 verse 5. See if you can lure him into showing you the secret of his great strength. Delilah asked Samson again and again, "What makes you so strong?" He lied. She tried. He broke free every time. But she didn't give up. She cried. She accused. She wore him down. Judges 16 verse 17. No razor has ever been used on my head, he said. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me. That night, while he slept in her lap, she called for someone to shave his head. And as the last lock of hair fell, Judges 16 verse 20, then she called, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." He awoke and thought, "I'll go out as before." But he did not know that the Lord had left him. They seized him. They gouged out his eyes. They chained him and dragged him away. The strongest man in Israel was now blind, broken. Time passed, and Samson's hair began to grow again. The Philistines held a great feast. They praised their god, Dagon. They brought out Samson to entertain them. They didn't know. Something had returned. Samson said to the boy leading him, Judges 16 verse 26, "Put me where I can feel the pillars that support the temple, so that I may lean against them." He whispered a final prayer. Judges 16 verse 28, "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just once more." He reached for the pillars. He braced his arms. He cried out, and he pushed. The stone cracked. The ground trembled. The temple collapsed. Judges 16 verse 30. Thus he killed many more when he died than while he lived. His brothers came and carried his body back home. They buried him in the tomb of his father, Manoah. Samson had been chosen before birth. He had strength like no other, but he also had weakness. God used him. Not because he was perfect, but because God had a plan. Samson's story is a reminder, even when we fall, even when we're broken, even when we've lost everything, God can still move through us. His strength is not made perfect in our pride, but in our surrender.